From Arizona is yielded 4 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the gentleman from Florida for sponsoring this legislation. You know, there is no legal authority for the U.S. to be involved in the Syrian civil war. There is no authority. Section 5C of the War Powers Act does not say, and I'm quoting the chairman now, it does not say without authorization. That's not the language. The language says specific statutory authority. Either declare war or you have specific statutory authority. And you know what that 2001 AUMF says? It says those who aided the terrorist attacks that occurred on September 11th, 2001. It doesn't say ISIS. It doesn't say Syria. It's talking about the events of 2001, as the gentleman from Florida just referenced. It's a quaint idea. It's a quaint idea to say, well, we're going to rely on that 2001 AUMF. I thought they were going to say they were going to relying on the 2002 AUMF. But either way, neither one works. You don't have authority, and you're going to be there and put U.S. soldiers in harm's way. This is a civil war. One Syrian analyst said this recently, quote, "Until we see the externals confront each other directly rather than on the Syrian ground, I don't see an actual end to the Syrian conflict," close quote. You know who the externals are? The U.S., Russia, Iran. That's the externals. And we have no authority to be one of those externals. And that analyst went on to say, it's a proxy war. And that's what's happening. It's another U.S.-Russia proxy war. When the Syrian civil war began with protests during the Arab Spring of 2011, U.S. President Obama then said, he went to the regime in Syria and he said, quote, "The future of Syria must be determined by its people, but President Bashar al-Assad is standing in the way. For the sake of the Syrian people, the time has come for President Assad to step aside," close quote. Is that our objective? Regime change? Is that what it is? No, we don't know. We don't know what the objective is. You can't even define what the exit ramp is. Assad responded at that time by fueling the civil war, the exacerbation of that problem, and it has just grown. And now you've got us with our allies, the Turks, and our allies, the Kurds. They're fighting against each other. They don't want each other. But ISIS in 2019 was declared to be defeated. Even the Inspector General recently said they don't have an ability to cause damage and fear and harm in the homeland. And the result is in the last 13 years, the U.S. has spent more than $15 billion on humanitarian aid, and we don't even know what we've spent in Department of Defense costs. You know why? Because they're grouping it with what's going on in Iraq. We tried to obtain information. Well, how much have we spent? Well, nobody will tell us. When General Milley says, and by the way, he was the architect of that disastrous Afghanistan retreat, and he's a believer in however long, no matter the cost approach in Ukraine, he insists we prolong our involvement in the civil war in Syria in order to help our allies. General Milley, who's our allies? Is it the Kurds? Is it the Turks? Who is it? Is it the Assad regime? He can't tell you. No one can tell you. All of this is being done, though, without legal authority. It's time for us to stop fighting proxy wars. It's time for us not to say, "Oh, next time we'll take care of these AUMFs." We've had time after time. This is the time to get rid of them. I urge us to vote for this. I yield back.